GE Aviation, Michael Mechler from Rolls-Royce, and Luc Poirier from JSSI. And we'd like to keep this as interactive as well as possible. And it's also a great chance for you to complain to the maintenance program providers about how hard they are to deal with, isn't it, Alex? Okay, Michael. What are the biggest issues you're seeing with aircraft in the region at the moment?
There's issues. One is the sort of environment which is specific to the sand. We've seen a couple of days ago quite big, not sandstorm, but the sand was in the air for quite a while. There's in the region also a different support structure, infrastructure. UAE is pretty well developed, but when you go into some maybe North African countries, then this local support infrastructure is definitely an issue.
And by local support infrastructure, are you talking about maintenance shops or also parts?
Both, basically. It's local maintenance when you are when you have an AOG, for example, in one of those remote places. You want to get out as quickly as possible, but with missing infrastructure, that's got to be more difficult, obviously, quite obvious.
Alex, what do you think?
Like simulations, like Michael just explained, infrastructure, sometimes lack of hangar space availability. If there's an issue getting into the country, visa issues, having support teams getting into the country, having access to the airport secure area can be an issue, can be timely. And for some countries like Iraq, Iran, it's very hard if there's something on ground there to get support in, because of government sanctions and things like that. But all in all, I would say no special problems over here. I mean, we have great customers in the region, and besides of that, doing business as usual.
If someone says a ranch on the phone, should you just hang up?
Of course not.
Luc?
Yeah, along those lines, the heat is one of the big problems. The weather, they said hot and dry. Dubai is most humid. Having issues with the airport passes. It's always been a problem here. It's not like the America where you just open the hangar door and you're outside on the ramp. That's about it.
And if you're going to rate, score Asia out of 10 for ease of business, if you put the US at 10, what's the worst country in the world to deal with? Mongolia at 2. Where would you put the Middle East?
I'll go. Been in the Middle East for 11 years. I can put it at a high 6.5. But I can see the frustration to try to get airside, especially when occasionally we're trying to sell an airplane and the buyer could not get an airpass site for 3 days. It was really, really frustrating, on everybody's side. So I'm sure they ranked it probably at the 0.1.
I'd say it depends again on the individual country where it is. When you look at UAE, I think I'd put it as a 7 to 8. Probably when you go more to the middle of Africa, it's probably more close to a 3. So it really depends, I think, where you're stuck.
I agree, it highly depends on the country, and then if you have a customer sitting in the country where the aircraft is, most of the time those guys can provide great support to accelerate those processes for airside access, visas and stuff. But if you're in a difficult country and there's nobody around supporting you, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, it's to know also the right people. I went to Saudi 2 weeks ago, and it seriously took about 15 minutes, and I was airside. Just because we had the right people. NASJet was involved into supporting us, getting our Saudi visa, which was really nice, and then supported us with access to the airside. And I was really surprised because I thought I'd be maybe staying there a couple extra days. And 8:30 I was airside.
It's sometimes it's like customs as well, depending on the countries. We've heard some stories about Asia this morning, and I can only confirm what Jeff was saying this morning. It's that especially UAE is definitely on the upside compared to China, for example.
So, Luc, you talked about an owner having trouble to get access, and many of the people in this room, the times when they deal with you guys most is when an aircraft's being sold, particularly a pre-owned one. And pre-purchase inspections are a huge area of controversy, well, not controversy, I think everyone agrees with them. But there can be a lot of issues with a pre-purchase inspection, particularly when an aircraft's in the program. You know, what are the main issues you're seeing in that area?
Pre-purchase issue will never be, nobody's ever going to be happy. You have a buyer that doesn't want to pay for none of these defects are awardness. The seller says, yeah, they're all awardness. The MRO is fighting between the two. There's one thing, I've done many pre-purchase, probably over 20, 25. There's one thing you will never hear, is that was the best PPI I have ever seen in my life. It's not going to happen. Everybody's angry and fighting at each other, so that's stay away from PPI. Us as the company, we do cover cost of stuff that would be normally covered. Up to a point, we won't pay for the inspection, but we do pay for defects that might be, that comes from PPI, and if there's airworthiness snags, they'll definitely fix them.
And are you happy to Orozco for a Orozco inspection?
That's up to these guys. Usually we will go to the OEM and we'll ask for permission, obviously, Rolls-Royce, GE, Honeywell. We stay away from saying yes to Orozco because, but yeah, it had happened in the past that we did pay for some stuff that was found.
PPIs are there to make the situation clear between the buyer and the seller. We definitely encourage people to do PPIs because that makes the situation clear. Orozco is not an issue for us. If they are on corporate care, for example, they can do Orozco, but if there are findings that are beyond limits and fixing caused by qualified reasons, then it's covered under the program. So,
I mean, qualified reasons are again an issue, aren't they? Whether something's airworthy or qualified versus, you know, a new buyer's going on the perfect engine.
It's the non-qualified, for example, is FOD. So they can find FOD damage which they haven't found before, and they haven't even realized in the cockpit any vibration, for example, but they can see eventually something during the boroscope inspection. And then, yes, if it's detected as being FOD, obviously a program doesn't cover it, but then it should be covered by their hull insurance typically. Yeah? But if it's something qualified, basically any wear and tear beyond the limits that we find or that the customer finds during PPI, then it would be covered under corporate care.
Yeah, same over here now on point. So having an aircraft in PPI, of course, the buyer likes to have a good feeling what he gets. So we have no constraints at all that the engine's a boroscope. We had no negative experience with that. Like Michael said, if there are findings, we will cover that if they qualify for that. Of course, if you say like buyers might want perfection, there might be a finding which is within limits. Of course, it stays like is. I mean, we're not gonna pull the engine and repair something for something which is in limits. And therefore, like the customer is covered under the program. But of course, if something is out of limits, if something would qualify to be covered under the program, we of course cover it, and contract is transferred to the buyer.
I guess one other issue in a sales process is when because of client confidentiality, the buyer can't see the entire program. Pricing, basically. You know, is there anything you can do to make that process easier?
I mean, like, usually the buyer gets the pricing on the program most of the time from the seller. once on the aircraft sells, we usually have the take over the same price to the buyer. Like we don't adjust the contract. I mean, sometimes of course it's in the interest of the seller, of the buyer, to adjust the contract because his operating profile might be different. He might have a different utilization, and so yeah. It's always have to look in this one once on the aircraft sells. Is the contract how it's set up adequate to the buyer's utilization profile? But I mean, it's not that we make a secret out of that. We are quite transparent. We try to stay transparent and have feel all parties involved in the transaction feel good.
We're seeing a lot less AOG events. You tell me we're seeing a lot less. When you do see them, what are the biggest issues for having at the moment?
I mean, an AOG typically happens in a remote place. That was always an issue, will always be an issue. It doesn't happen at home base. Do we see less and less AOGs, engine related? They are all of the engines are getting more and more reliable. And we have reliability statistics that we need to work against. But the big issue is then having the support in the remote place. This is why we, for example, have increased our authorized service center network worldwide. So furthermore, we do operate what we call on-wing care, which basically is a mobile repair party or mobile repair parties who are authorized to do engine changes, so they can do that. And they would come with tooling, they would come with a lease engine, and everything would be covered under the program, basically. And if it's a local service center that is authorized, they can do that, and we would work closely with them, and the actual owner wouldn't see an invoice for that. It's all being dealt with between the authorized facility and us directly in remote places with AOG situations.
Yeah, definitely logistics is one of the biggest issues. And you're right, we don't see much AOG with the engines. We'll see them with the airframes. And to get somebody, sometimes airside in Nigeria, in Lagos, it might take 1 or 2 or 3 days to get a pass. Then you find out that he needs a $25,000 box. Well, he needs an extra 2 for the customs, because you need to get that part airside. It's very, very difficult for us working out of Dubai and to see all those problems that we're seeing with logistic.
I mean, like I said, usually an AOG or sometimes an AOG hits you by surprise. We just had an AOG in Nigeria last week, but that went pretty well. We have our support network in place, our MRT support in place, going there, so that the customer was in the country, helped us with the visa on arrival, getting the airside access, helping with the customs, so that was good. And I mean, like seeing less AOGs, of course, like what GE has invested a lot is in digital solutions, in engine prognostics. We, like on the CF34, it's a reliable product, but we offer a retrofit kit for prognostic health management, so to be more predictive here. That product as well includes flight data monitoring, flight quality assurance program, which comes along with, which is a great tool for operators to focus on safety. And of course, like for our new engine on the Global 7500, the Passport, what we have seen so far in the operation is like, yeah, we're getting a lot of data there. It's like, yeah, it's a great help for us to analyze how the engine performs in flight and to predict any possible defect before it becomes an AOG.
It's actually avoiding AOGs with modern engines providing thousands of parameters of data. It's high sophisticated engine health monitoring. That is a way of avoiding AOGs. sometimes it still happens, then it's the question to be prepared, basically. We had an AOG in Gabon recently as well, where similar to what you just said, it's about a cooperation between the operator, the owner, and ourselves to get people in, help with visa, and then get tooling in and get the team in to do an engine change if necessary, for example. And it depends on some countries. If you need an engine to be put in, it's customs. You can be as quickly as possible, but then the engine is stuck in customs for like 2 days, 2 weeks maybe.
And you can't push customs because they're just going to go back to the bottom of the pile.
Probably should.
Yeah, one of the issues too here we found, just in the Middle East, even in the UAE, is if you have an event, the MROs are actually very busy, which is really good. If you need support for hangarage or something, there's not enough hangar in Dubai. There's, starting to build up in DWC. I remember DC Aviation, when I was working in the maintenance side, was helping us, to do windshield change and everything. But it's gotta keep growing, in maybe in 5-6 years, it's gonna be enough hangar to have all these airplanes that are basically rotten outside, back inside where it's safer environments.
One of the issues is also within the kind of AOG is getting a leased engine. Luc, would you say there's a short?
The leased engines are very hard to get to. And the other problem is when you get, we have 2 BR710 in our pool of engines. I think we're looking at CF34s, we have APUs, and for us it's difficult because obviously when the engine, there's an event that happens, we're going to send it to the OEM if there's a slot for us. But I know Rolls-Royce Canada, it's minimum 90 days. So the operator is going to have to afford that cost if he doesn't have the rental covers, or we're going to have to pay for rental covers for 90 days, plus the time for repair. I find engine support is there, but if it's a non-scheduled event, there's not much way around it for us. But that's why we're building up our pools of engines.
We do, obviously, we plan our shop slots, we plan the lease engine pool size according to the fleet size worldwide, according to reliability statistics. And when it comes to AOG situations when you need a lease engine in the shop slot, obviously our corporate care customers do get priority, and that's one of the big benefits of being on the OEM program. You get priority access to the infrastructure, basically. And even if it takes, if a shop slot is not available for 90 days, for example, and you fly with a lease engine, that is covered under the program, so you don't have to pay for that extra. So it's our risk if there are no slots available then.
In CJI, of course, we invest a lot to properly support our on-point customers. So if an on-point customer has an AOG with a lease engine, he has the guarantee by the contract to get a lease engine within 24 hours shipped from us. And like Michael said as well, having he hasn't to be worried about the shop slot because he gets our lease engine, and then it's like on us to manage that cost. And it's like to the presentation this morning, it's exactly one of the good reasons you might want to have an engine program as well for ACJ or the BBJ. If it comes down to get a lease engine, especially if you're out of warranty, your aircraft might be grounded for months before you can get a proper lease engine, and it's going to cost the principal a fortune to do so. So it's all that support which comes along with the engine program, and it's not just the core engine you need to worry about. The LIUs are covered, the house management comes with it. We can offer flight data monitoring, so there's a whole support package besides the enhancement of the residual value. Because if you sell your ACJ, BBJ after 7-8 years, the buyer might care if the engines are involved on the program or not.
Mr. Pratt here, anything to say, Mr. Pratt?
Let's, Luke, you offer airframe programs as well.
Correct.
We're seeing aircraft OEMs much more focused on maintenance. We saw it earlier with our first panel with JSSI buying ExecuJet. Started Gulfstream buying Jet in 2008. And we're seeing more and more focus on maintenance centres, Bombardier, Biggin Hill. Do you see this as a concern to you as a company?
To get AOG support, yeah, it could be a problem because the OEMs are taking all these authorized facilities out of this world. There's only one left in the Middle East, and then you have Singapore and Biggin Hills for the Bombardier product. It's kind of hard to have an airplane under warranty for an operator, and if he's somewhere in Russia, he says, oh, well, that part is going to cost you $50,000, but, well, these guys can't order it under warranty, or they can't perform the work under warranty because they're not at a service center. That has become an issue. For us, if the airplane's under warranty, there was instance that we covered that labor for the customer. The customer, if he's got scheduled inspection, we will push them to the OEM. We pushed customer globals, Ebert to OEM, Gulfstreams, they go to Savannah, and we encourage that because it's good for the customer. The operator is happy with that, and resale value obviously increases because it's been maintained by the OEM. So we have no issue really with customer going to the OEM.
Do you actually think resale value increases?
I think so, yeah. If you go to mom and pop shop somewhere and then it's always your maintenance done there, and somebody looks at the book, it looks better if it's, a Gulfstream, if it's Savannah that's done all the work, it's OEM.
And you guys don't cover airframes, you'd agree with that?
I mean, when you have a brand new BMW, would you go to a third-party garage or would you go to an OEM for maintenance? The same thing happens with aircraft. What we have done, obviously we work together with the airframers. They do offer their programs like smart parts or plane parts, and we are offering the engine side. They deliberately left the engine support for us. And what we recently did with our corporate care enhanced, we closed the gap between smart parts, plane parts, and the engine program in corporate care. So there shouldn't be any gap because we are now covering nacelle, TRU, EBU parts as well. The maintenance.
One interesting thing about the airframe maintenance programs is they haven't got the same penetration as you guys. Why? They're just not as good at selling.
Maybe. No, I think the airframe programs are mainly for spare parts replacement, typically. With the engines, for example, they do have to undergo overhauls at some point in time. You have engine-related AOG at some point in time. A lease engine is pretty expensive if you have to pay for it. So there's, and the two engines of those aircraft make up about 25 to 30% of the total airframe value anyway. So they are a big portion of the asset value of the aircraft. And I think that because it's more complex, sophisticated, the maintenance for the engines, that's why people do go for the engine programs rather than, more so than with the airframe programs.
So you think you're more sophisticated than the airframe guys?
The engine as such is a highly sophisticated piece
Does
of
that mean
machine.
that engine guys are more sophisticated than aircraft guys?
I leave it open to you to.
Okay, we've got some questions from the audience. You can't get away from horoscopes. If we could put a slide up. Why is a horoscope during a PPI most often excluded from program coverage? This is sometimes a deal killer for an aircraft sale.
It's not under our point. Like I said, we never like to hide anything, like to have the buyer feel comfortable. So
the customer would have, either the buyer or the seller would have to pay for the actual Orozco, but any findings are covered under our corporate care program, any qualified findings.
Exactly.
I think there is a wrong impression out in the market about this coverage. And even, I mean, a PPI boroscope is not a boroscope inspection as per the manual, so that's why a lot of people think that is not any finding is not covered. And some programs do not cover findings during non-scheduled boroscope inspections, but I can definitely talk about corporate care. We do cover it, and I guess you guys do it as well.
We will cover it if it's awarded. The issue that I see is on a PPI, you're going to find something. Definitely, it's going to be serviceable, and then somebody's going to say, "Well, no, there's damage there. I don't want it," so it's going to back off. So obviously, nobody wants to pay for that repair because it's still serviceable, correct?
If the findings are still within limits, then it's serviceable. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if the findings are beyond limits, then it's the program.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to.
So you pretty much always find something with the Orozco. It's like quote. Do aircraft engines operated in the Middle East have less corrosion or more corrosion than other places?
Do you think erosion is preventing from corrosion, maybe? It's actually, like Luc said, it's actually not hot and dry here, it's hot and humid. When you look at especially the Gulf countries here, there's quite a little bit of humidity and there is corrosion in the Middle East. But on top of corrosion, there is erosion, sand erosion in the Middle East.
Does that clean up the corrosion?
That's
sandblasting.
To some degree, maybe the corrosion, yeah, but the sand blocks cooling holes in the turbine blades, and then it starts deteriorating very quickly.
Yeah, like to that point, I mean, what you typically see here in the sandy environment, like Michael said, is erosion in the compressor, which reduces the engine efficiency, drives the turbine temperature, and has an adverse effect on reliability, of course. Therefore, like what we highly recommend is to water wash the engines regularly. That increases the compressor efficiency and thereby reduces the temperature in the hot section and increases the engine life. So, and by doing that on a regular basis, you make sure like the experience we have, most of the contamination is completely removed. So we see great results with this for operators, and we encourage, of course, our operators, our customers. It's part of the on-point contract, and the program pays for it to wash the engines regularly, and especially like if the environment, if you have pollution from dust. Like as well, smog in Asia can have a negative effect, and have a regular cleaning of the engines is a good thing to do.
Yeah, and I think, corporate care, JSSI, every time you say, oh yeah, operate in the Middle East, you're like, okay, that's page 53, let me find it, and your rate is, yeah, this much.
Technical question. If I parked an aircraft in China for a year and left it, and I parked one in Dubai for a year and left it, which would be worse?
I mean, it depends, like, park it outside, park it inside.
Outside, I'm not parking
outside.
in a
I mean, if the engines are properly, I say, covered by good engine covers. Some customers, they park the engine outside, they say the engines are covered, and you see some pictures that say, hey, there's not really engine covers, or you just cover the fan and you don't cover the exhaust. So if you have decent engine covers on it, if you follow the preservation procedures, there shouldn't be much difference, like the engine should be in good shape afterwards.
I mean, the manual calls for some stuff to be done, like preservation, if it's long-term preservation. If you do it properly, then the engines remain serviceable. If you don't do it, any engine looks
Okay,
bad.
so I haven't done it properly.
You haven't done it properly, It depends on where you park it. Is it Beijing or is it Shanghai or is it Hong Kong?
Beijing.
Beijing.
Versus Dubai.
And versus Dubai.
You're going to keep going.
If you keep them sitting outside on the ramp, no maintenance, no covers, they probably look pretty similar. The one in Dubai, maybe a little bit of sand blustering as well, from sandstorms. Inside, they probably look pretty similar because of the same humidity levels, pollution. Beijing is getting better with pollution over the last, it's still pollution, but it's getting much better over the last couple of years, the last 2 years actually. So they probably look pretty much the same.
Alex, what for you? Does GE have a pool of rental BBJ and ACJ engines available to support Middle East operators?
Here we do I mean, we have a pool through our service providers, GE themselves, and I mean, the commercial fleet is huge as well, so there's enough.
But if they're not on a program, you can't afford them.
It depends, of course. You're not on a program you cannot expect having the same support like a program customer, because of course we have a financial risk as well on that, and we invest a lot on providing those spare assets. So I mean, you pay what you get usually. Yeah.
Any old-fashioned questions from the audience? Okay, final. You can each have 20 seconds on time limit. Why should I put a brand new aircraft on a program when it's covered by warranty?
It's a good question. My answer always is the support which comes along it. It's flawless. It's a one-call solution for the customer. It's concierge level support, and it guarantees your aircraft availability, your time up in the air, so you don't have to worry how to fix something, and that's the main value proposition.
Warranty is fairly basic. There are big differences between corporate care enhanced or on-point and the warranty. Asset value protection, basically it's pay now or pay later and pay more, basically. That's when you want to sell an aircraft after warranty, you almost have to put the engines on the program to be able to sell it at least at a reasonable price. If it's not on the program, the price goes down that much that you lose out, basically. So why not putting it on the program from day one, enjoying the benefits from day one if you have to do it anyway? And it's a big difference between warranty and the engine maintenance program. Like, for example, if you have a warrantable event, warranty covers just the warrantable event, but it doesn't cover these engines, for example. It doesn't cover removal, installation, shipping, for example. So there are big differences.
It doesn't cover if you troubleshoot your engine, you remove a component which was not faulty, but it's not covered by warranty.
Financial stability for about 5 years. No surprise. We cover inspections, which warranty does not cover. We will cover parts replacement through warranty. So obviously your cost for 5 years is going to be much less, but your cost is going to be the same, pending escalation and flying hours for the next 5 years. If you're flying 500 hours a year for the next 5 years, financial stability.
Someone in the audience has gone, why don't you just add the cost of the program to the purchase price? And then the client can have the cover during the warranty period.
You mean the cost for the program?
Yeah. You could pay it all in one go, I guess, or you could.
That's probably a decision made by some finance people, I guess.
Okay, thank you.